Hey, it's Marty from Marty's Maps. I'm here with another video. This time I'm doing what if France was an empire. This is going to be under the assumption that there is no NATO or EU, obviously. This will be taking place in 2021 with a buffed up France and no preset alliances or defense pacts. France is obviously going to be represented by the color red, and all the defenders are going to be represented by the color blue. Remember, this is just my personal interpretation, and this would realistically never happen in the real world. The first thing France would likely do is, while it still has a lot of resources, it's going to try to break through the mountains to Spain and Italy, so they'll be declaring war on both of them. France will immediately be able to take Andorra and Monaco. They'll both surrender immediately. There won't be any resistance, and Spain will make small pushes through the mountains, taking land from Spain and also pushing along the coastline on both the northern and eastern ends. France will also attack Italy through the mountains, pushing through. This will take a while, so they also make a landing in Sardinia, I believe it's called, as well as Sicily. Eventually they take all of Sardinia as well as all of Sicily. Spain doesn't have a very strong army, so France will have a lot of success in pushing to Madrid, taking the capital, causing the rest of the nation to surrender. Spain continues to push through Italy, getting through the mountains and now pushing down the coastline, also taking some of southern Italy through Sicily. Meanwhile, France also declares war on Portugal and invades from all the sides. Lisbon is captured, causing the rest of the nation to surrender. Rome is then captured, causing the rest of Italy to also surrender. And of course, since France is acting as an empire in this video, all land that surrenders or capitulates to France will instantly be joined into the French Empire. France is now going to declare war on Luxembourg, Belgium, and the Netherlands, all of which are pretty small and weak countries, so France will have quite a bit of ease taking a lot of these countries. Luxembourg will surrender right away. After about half of Belgium is taken, as well as Brussels, that nation will then surrender. And as they're pushing into the Netherlands, once Amsterdam is taken, the Netherlands will also surrender, with this being very swift war right here. Now France is going to take its jab at Germany. This is going to be quite difficult, even though Germany has a limited military for obvious reasons. Germany still is allowed to have a lot of defensive capabilities. So we're going to see France first making a push just, all along the coastline. Or not coastline, just the border, like so. They'll take quite a bit of coastline up here, as their goal is to reach Berlin through the coastline. So they continue to push up here, and, just generally down here. And they go up, taking a lot more, northern Germany, and bump into Denmark. Troops then cross each other, causing Denmark to go to war with France as Germany's ally. A front is made in Denmark, somewhere along here, with some smaller islands being taken. France right now is mainly just trying to keep Denmark away. They're not too occupied with what's going on there. France is mainly concerned about approaching Berlin, which does get increasingly difficult. We're going to zoom in here to see France's battle plan for this. So after France has taken a lot of the coastline, They're then gonna push to take the German-Polish border. Right now, they're just trying to surround Berlin. Berlin might actually be a bit more north than this, but we'll just say it's around here. France makes a very bold push into the center of Germany, costing a lot of resources. So Germany is able to push back a little bit. Not much progress is being made up here in Denmark, however. France has been able to take a bit more coastline, but other than that, not much progress for either side. Meanwhile, down south, France now starts its invasion of the Balkans, declaring war on the countries of Slovenia, Croatia, Bosnia, Albania, and Montenegro. They pushed through Slovenia, taking a lot of the country, and pushed through the coastline. Serbia sees how a lot of these countries are being attacked and falling to France, so Serbia, while not being a French ally, decides to also declare war on many of these Balkan countries. Again, not as a French ally, just trying to take advantage of the situation. So they also declare war on, obviously, Kosovo and North Macedonia, or Macedonia, not sure how you pronounce it. And they now start to push from an eastern front, taking a lot of land. Kosovo is pretty much captured entirely very quickly, and Serbia sets up a front line right about here, while France takes the rest of Slovenia. The country capitulates and surrenders, and takes even more of Croatia, some of Bosnia, and pushes into Montenegro, as well as Albanian coastline. Meanwhile, up here, France continues to have a lot of success pushing inward in Germany. They are pushed back a little bit by Denmark, however. They take some of their islands and mainland back. However, eventually France does take Berlin, and Germany then surrenders. France is then able to allocate more troops into Denmark, taking back a lot of lost lands and more coastline. And they push closer and closer to Copenhagen. Eventually, however, they cross with Swedish troops, and they now join the war on Denmark's side, which is a very huge turn in the war. With Sweden's help, Denmark and Sweden are able to push back against French troops significantly, taking back basically all of these islands and nearly all of the mainland. And a front line is set up right about here. Perhaps France is able to push back and take, some of these islands again, but this is where we see the front line located. Meanwhile, looking down south, we see France continue to take more land in Croatia, Bosnia, I keep on forgetting this name, Montenegro, and Albania, while Serbia continues to push until North Macedonia surrenders. They take Albanian land, a lot of Bosnian land, some Croatian land, and now the two armies come face to face right here. As I said earlier, the two sides are not allies in this war at all, and they both want this land. So now the two sides are going to start fighting, and we're going to have a new front appearing right here in the war. France has a lot of success pushing against Serbia, taking a lot of Croatia and Bosnia, as well as a lot of Albania. Some peoples in North Macedonia also rebel against Serbia, which helps French troops push into this territory. However, Serbian troops have a lot of success pushing through Montenegro, reaching the Adriatic Sea. However, France does have naval dominance, so, this doesn't do Serbia a whole good, other than break up the French militaries. Meanwhile, up north, France has been able to take some more coastline from Denmark. However, Sweden and Denmark are able to take back even more islands, and some German mainland. So as you can see, there's a lot of back and forth fighting going on up here. France has been very busy occupying all of this territory, so their resources are starting to whittle down, and Serbia is able to push back into French forces. They're able to take more of Bosnia, a bit more coastline. They're able to take northern Albania and some of northern Macedonia. France sees that it has to decide between one of these sides. So one of them they're going to have to make a peace agreement with and not get all the land in order to relocate troops to the other side. So France knows that they're either not going to get Denmark or they're not going to get the Balkans. They decide to make contact with Serbian leadership and come to a peace agreement. As an end result, we're going to see something similar to this. So France has annexed all of Slovenia, the entire Croatian coastline, as well as some of western Bosnia, while Serbia has annexed basically everything else, getting Montenegro, Macedonia, Kosovo, Albania, most of Bosnia, and the inland portion of Croatia. So you can see that nearly all of Yugoslavia has been restored. This is thanks to their peace agreement, and now France is able to relocate troops more north and able to do a lot up here in Denmark. So while all the fighting was happening down there, Sweden and Denmark were able to take back quite a bit of land from French troops, even pushing further into German territory, well, as controlled by France currently, obviously. But now with French reinforcements coming up, France is able to take back all of this lost land in Germany, many of the islands throughout Denmark, and a lot of the mainland. And now push even further into Denmark, eventually successfully taking Copenhagen, causing the rest of the country to capitulate. Sweden does not continue the war, they opt out of it, and they in a way surrender, but they're just not continuing anymore. So now the French military is starting to get whittled down quite a bit, obviously because, whoops, there we go, because they're busy occupying a lot of this land right here. So they're going to make one final move one final power grab to expand the French Empire, the French 2021 Empire, and that's going to be on declaring war on the UK. Now, taking London is very difficult, so France is first going to push into this, I guess you'd call it a gulf, taking land right here, and also pushing into this gulf, or bay might be, taking land right here. Troops are then going to connect up right here, sort of cutting the nation into two parts. During this time, Ireland is going to be joining the war, this time as a French ally. They're obviously mainly doing this so that they can start taking some of Northern Ireland from the UK, while France continues to take a lot of southern England and some of Wales, pushing closer and closer into London until eventually the nation's capital is taken. However, the UK is far from defeated, and they would most likely move their capital to either Glasgow or Liverpool or Manchester, somewhere around there. So after Ireland is successful in taking all of Northern Ireland, the two forces are then going to combine to make a push taking Glasgow. They also make a push taking Liverpool, Manchester, Sheriff, and a lot of this land. They then push closer and closer, making their armies take and occupy much more land. All of Wales is taken. Scotland is pretty easy to take. There isn't much defense set up there. A lot of these islands are easily taken by Ireland. And they also push south a bit, causing all of England to surrender and all of the UK. So obviously Ireland is going to be annexing all of Northern Ireland, and as for what's going to happen to the UK, I think we can all agree that the world would just be a much better place if we just got rid of the UK. There we go. The world is a much better place. There's way less wars. Uh, the world is just way more happy. That looks just so much better. That was obviously a joke. That would never happen. The UK would just be completely annexed by France. Perhaps some of these islands would also be given to Ireland for their efforts. And yeah, that's just gonna be it for like the French Empire in, the 21st century. They'll be pretty good allies with Ireland from now on, and for obvious reasons, they can't really expand further because they need their troops to be occupying all of this land until, it's all, you know, completely under French rule. That's gonna be it for this video. I hope you enjoyed. Thank you for watching, and bye-bye.